You think it doesn't happen here, right? Not in a place like this. Not in Dufferin County, where we have rolling fields, quiet back roads, small towns, and neighbors who wave when you pass by. But it does happen here. In farmhouses set back far from the road. In homes with beautiful gardens and perfect lawns. In apartments above your favorite coffee shops. Here, violence hides in plain sight. In small towns, everybody knows everybody, or at least they think they do. They saw the smiling photos, the way I showed up for work, for my kids, for everyone else. They didn't see the nights I cried quietly into my pillow, afraid to breathe too loudly. The panic attacks I hid in the shower, the way I questioned if I was the problem. How I stayed when I was breaking because I thought that's what love meant. How I left with nothing but my kids and a quiet knowing that I deserved more. Violence doesn't care how pretty the view is outside your window. It doesn't stop at the town line. It's always been here, and until we face it, it will keep hiding in the spaces we think are safe. I know because I lived it.
Abuse doesn't always start with bruises. It begins quietly, with control, isolation, and fear. I was struck in the face while driving. My home was damaged. I took pictures of bruises on my arms, then deleted them because he always promised to change. He convinced me no one would believe me. Even his family member told me to stay quiet, and that silenced me for years. People ask, why did you stay? The truth is, leaving isn't simple. It's dangerous. It means risking everything, including your life. I am your neighbor, your coworker, your friend, and I am a survivor.
As survivors, we often experience victim blaming in the aftermath of an abusive situation. Fear of judgment or feelings of shame can sometimes cause a survivor to be afraid to speak out, contributing to survivors staying silent, and sometimes abuse goes unreported or unaddressed. Remember, abuse often occurs behind closed doors in silence and secrecy, and there are often many complicated dynamics that keep a survivor in that veil of darkness. Victim blaming can also occur in unintended ways, such as asking a survivor why they stayed or why they didn't tell you, as people often don't understand the dynamics and psychological components to abuse, which can keep a survivor feeling stuck. People often think that they would have done something different if it was them, but it is hard to understand if you have not been in that situation yourself. As well, people often don't understand that the safety of the survivor and their children is at risk, even once out of an abusive situation. I still fear for the safety of my daughter and I, and it's been many years. When abuse is reported, further victim blaming can occur through the court processes, where the abuser can twist, excuse, and deny what occurred, which is painful and takes great strength to endure. This can make for a lonely and isolated journey to healing for survivors. That's why as a survivor, I speak out and advocate for others. I want them to know that they are not alone in this. It is important to remember that the only one responsible for abuse is the abuser. Abusing someone is a choice made by the abuser to hurt someone, to give them power and control over another, to violate the trust and love that someone gives to them. Blaming survivors causes further pain and further stigma and takes the responsibility off of the abusers. This gives abusers exactly what they want: control and silence, and allows the abuser to continue to abuse the survivor, even from afar. We can all help to break this cycle of abuse by providing survivors with belief, compassion, empathy, safety, and support whenever we have the opportunity to do so. Supporting a survivor of abuse doesn't require special training. It takes compassion, empathy, being free from judgment, and a willingness to listen. If someone in your life has informed you that they have experienced abuse, start by believing them. Often a survivor is not seeking someone to do anything, but rather they are just seeking support, understanding, someone to be present, to be a non-judgmental ear to listen, and to know that they are not alone. If you want to do more, you can also ask them how you can further help, and you can provide them with resources that may help them, such as helplines, counseling services, legal supports, among many other resources that may pertain to their specific situation. For service providers assisting survivors, such as those going through the court process, please remember that although the system can be dehumanizing and can sometimes treat survivors as a form of evidence, they are still a human being and deserve to be treated as such. Having Crown attorneys, support persons, police, judiciary, and attorneys, among others, through that process that speak to and treat survivors as a human with respect and dignity can greatly help ease some of the difficulties that survivors may endure during those processes. In general, if a survivor has told you their story, they are giving their trust to you. Trusting people is often very difficult for survivors, so please maintain their privacy by not sharing their story without consent, as this may damage what little trust for others that they may have. Also, if a survivor is met with judgment after opening up to you, this will often cause them to shut down and potentially not want to open up to anyone else, which can put them in further danger. Survivors are more than what has happened to them. I am so much more than what has happened to me or what I went through. The support you provide to a survivor can help them on that journey and can also give them comfort in knowing that they are not alone, while also helping to break the cycle of silence and secrecy that often occurs with abuse.
Being a survivor means I faced fear and kept moving forward. I've been hurt in ways most won't notice, but my story isn't over. The person who tried to break me did not win. The network of support I had is what gave me strength. I had to work at it. I didn't stop. I've fought for every day of peace I have. I've rebuilt my life step by step. My scars aren't shameful. They're proof of my strength. I've learned that what happened to me does not define me. My courage does. Now I can laugh without looking over my shoulder. I can trust again, starting with myself. In small communities, walls can feel higher. People notice. People have opinions. And sometimes they don't step in. But we are survivors. We are still here, and we are not alone. One day at a time, one step at a time, we keep moving forward.
To the women hearing these words today, I see how tired you are, how many times you've packed in your head but never made it out the door. How they've broken your confidence so carefully you almost believe you need them. How the fear of starting over feels heavier than staying. Your courage is the spark that can ignite your path forward.
Supporting survivors can help us all to break this cycle together and will help us to bring abuse out of the darkness and into the light.